The history of the United Kingdom, UK, is a rich tapestry of thousands of years, marked by significant events, conquests, and political unions that shaped the nation's identity. One of the earliest pivotal moments in the UK's history was the Battle of Hastings in 1066. This decisive Norman victory, led by Duke William II of Normandy over the English army under King Harold II, resulted in the Norman conquest of England. This conquest profoundly influenced the language, culture, and governance of England. In 1215, the Magna Carta was signed by King John at Runnymede near Windsor. This document was a groundbreaking charter that decentralized royal power and granted rights to subjects, establishing the principle that everyone, including the king, was subject to the law. The Magna Carta laid the foundations for modern democracy and constitutional law. Another key milestone was the unification of England and Scotland in 1707 through the Acts of Union, creating the Kingdom of Great Britain. This was a significant political union that brought together two distinct kingdoms under one parliament. The UK played a dominant global role through its expansive empire, especially during the 19th century under Queen Victoria's reign, shaping global trade, culture, and politics. In 1801, the union with Ireland formed the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland. The UK contributed significantly to both world wars in the 20th century, with resilience and strategic military engagements such as the Battle of Britain in 1940. More recent events also shaped the modern UK, including the establishment of devolved governments in Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland in the late 20th century, reflecting diverse regional identities and greater autonomy. The UK's history is a complex and evolving saga of military conflict, political development, cultural transformation, and global influence, continuing to impact the world today. Human habitation in the area now known as the United Kingdom dates back nearly 1 million years, with intermittent occupation by several early human species. The earliest evidence of human presence comes from stone tools and footprints found at Hillsborough on the Norfolk coast, dating to around 900,000 years ago, probably made by Homo antecessor. Around 500,000 years ago, Homo heidelbergensis lived in what is now Sussex, as evidenced by fossil finds at Boxgrove. Until about 425,000 years ago, Britain was connected to continental Europe by a land bridge. During the Anglian glaciation, a megaflood destroyed this bridge, and rising sea levels isolated Britain as an island. Various species like Neanderthals inhabited Britain intermittently. Fossils of Neanderthals about 400,000 years old were found in Kent, and about 225,000 years old in Wales. However, there were periods between 180,000 and 60,000 years ago when Britain was uninhabited due to harsh climatic conditions. Modern humans, Homo sapiens, arrived around 41,000 to 44,000 years ago. Their presence became more continuous, especially after the last ice age ended around 11,700 years ago, marking the start of permanent settlement. These early inhabitants were primarily hunter-gatherers, relying on plants and small mammals. Over time, they began to establish more permanent settlements. Around 6,500 BC, rising sea levels fully separated Britain from mainland Europe, which led to indigenous cultural developments. The Neolithic period, roughly 4,000 to 2,500 BC, saw the advent of farming with the introduction of crops and livestock and the construction of early burial chambers and stone circles such as those at Stonehenge. These cultural and technological shifts laid the foundations for the Celtic tribes that inhabited Great Britain and Ireland in later prehistoric times. This deep prehistoric timeline highlights a journey from transient early human visitors to a more stable and complex society, setting the stage for the historic cultures and kingdoms that would follow. The Norman conquest of England in 1066 was a transformative event that shaped the course of English and British history, launching the medieval period of the UK. The event was set in motion when King Edward the Confessor died on January 4th, 1066, leaving the English throne's succession unclear. Harold Godwinson was crowned King Harold II shortly thereafter on January 6th by the Anglo-Saxon Witan, but his claim was challenged by Duke William of Normandy, who asserted that Edward had promised him the throne years before and that Harold had sworn to support William's claim. William prepared his invasion force throughout the year, with papal backing granted in May. Meanwhile, Harold faced two major threats in 1066. First, an invasion in the north by Harald Hardrada, king of Norway, allied with Harold's estranged brother Tostig, and then the Norman invasion from the south. Harold's northern campaign climaxed with the Battle of Stamford Bridge on September 25th, where he defeated Harald Hardrada and Tostig, but his forces were exhausted. Only days later, on September 28th, William landed at Pevensey on England's southern coast, marking the start of the Norman invasion. Harold rapidly marched his army south to meet William, culminating in the pivotal Battle of Hastings on October 14th. The battle was fiercely contested, but Harold was killed, famously struck in the eye by an arrow, and William's forces triumphed. Following the victory, William faced resistance before finally entering London in December. He was crowned King of England on Christmas Day 1066 at Westminster Abbey, establishing Norman rule and deeply influencing England's culture, language, and governance. The medieval period saw the gradual political integration of England and Wales, beginning with the Acts of Union under Henry VIII in 1536 and 1542, which formally annexed Wales into the English legal system. This was a crucial step toward forming a unified state. Scotland, although sharing a monarch with England from 1603, when King James VI of Scotland inherited the English throne as James I, remained a separate kingdom until 1707. The Act of Union that year merged the English and Scottish parliaments, creating the Kingdom of Great Britain, a political and economic union that reshaped the British Isles and laid the groundwork for the modern United Kingdom. These unifications followed centuries of conflict and negotiation and significantly advanced Britain's emergence as a single powerful kingdom on the world stage. Ireland came under increasing English control during the 16th.
The Union lasted until the early 20th century, when nationalist movements gained momentum. Following the Irish War of Independence, the Anglo-Irish Treaty of 1921 led to the creation of the Irish Free State on December 6, 1921, which was a self-governing dominion separate from the UK. However, 6 counties in Northern Ireland, with a Protestant majority loyal to Britain, remained part of the UK. This partition of Ireland was formalized in 1922, marking the end of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland and the beginning of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. The legacy of this history is complex, fueling political and sectarian tensions that have influenced Northern Ireland's situation through the 20th century and into modern times. During the 19th century, under the reign of Queen Victoria, 1837 to 1901, the United Kingdom became the world's foremost colonial and industrial power. The British Empire expanded dramatically, encompassing vast territories across Africa, Asia, the Americas, and the Pacific. At its height, the empire covered nearly 1/4 of the world's land surface and ruled over more than 1/4 of its population, earning the phrase "the empire on which the sun never sets." This expansion was fueled by industrial advances, a powerful navy, and global trading networks. British colonial rule extended over regions such as Canada, Australia, India, large parts of Africa, and numerous island territories. The empire facilitated the spread of British culture, language, legal systems, and infrastructure, while also profoundly influencing global trade and geopolitics. During the same period, the UK underwent the Industrial Revolution, which transformed it into the world's leading industrial economy. Innovations in manufacturing, transportation, and communication not only fueled economic growth but also intensified urbanization and social change. In the 20th century, the UK played pivotal roles in both World War I and World War II, contributing significantly to the Allied victories. The World Wars also marked the beginning of the decline of the British Empire, as many colonies began to seek independence. Today, the modern United Kingdom consists of 4 countries: England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. Each retains its own unique cultural identity, languages, and traditions. Politically, the UK is a unitary state with devolved governments established over the past few decades, most notably the Scottish Parliament, Welsh Synod, and Northern Ireland Assembly, granting varying degrees of autonomy in local affairs while remaining part of the UK. The UK continues to be a significant global player, with its historical colonial legacy still influencing its diplomatic, cultural, and economic connections worldwide. The history of the United Kingdom (UK) is a rich tapestry spanning thousands of years, marked by significant events, conquests, and political unions that shaped the nation's identity. Early human habitation in the UK dates back nearly 1 million years with intermittent occupation by early humans, and the earliest modern humans appeared around 41,000 to 44,000 years ago. Celtic tribes inhabited Great Britain and Ireland during ancient times. The Romans conquered much of Britain beginning in AD 43 and ruled until the early 5th century, followed by Anglo-Saxon settlers who established several kingdoms. The medieval period was marked by the Norman conquest in 1066, when Duke William of Normandy defeated King Harold II at the Battle of Hastings and established Norman rule, profoundly influencing England's language, culture, and governance. The gradual political unification process included the integration of Wales under the Acts of Union in 1536 and 1542. Scotland entered into a political union with England and Wales in 1707 through the Acts of Union, forming the Kingdom of Great Britain. Ireland came under English control during the 1600s and was formally united with Great Britain in 1801 to create the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland. Following the Irish War of Independence, most of Ireland became the independent Irish Free State in 1922, leaving Northern Ireland as part of the UK. During the 19th century, especially under Queen Victoria, the UK emerged as the world's foremost colonial and industrial power, controlling an empire covering nearly a quarter of the world's land surface. Industrial advances and a powerful navy facilitated expansion and global influence in trade and culture. The UK played pivotal roles in both world wars of the 20th century. Today, the modern UK consists of 4 countries: England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland, each with distinct cultural identities and varying degrees of political autonomy through devolved governments. This deep and complex history showcases a transformation from ancient tribal lands to a unified constitutional monarchy with a lasting global legacy. The history of the UK includes significant power struggles between the monarchy and parliament, which profoundly shaped the country's political system and paved the way for modern parliamentary democracy. These conflicts reached a critical point in the 17th century with the English Civil War, a series of armed conflicts and political machinations from 1642 to 1651 between royalists, who supported King Charles I, and parliamentarians, who sought to limit his authority. King Charles I believed in the divine right of kings, asserting that his authority came directly from God, making him answerable only to divine judgment. However, Parliament, particularly the rising gentry class, controlled taxation and had grown increasingly powerful over the centuries. Disputes arose as Charles sought to raise taxes without parliamentary consent and attempted to enforce religious uniformity, alienating Puritans and other Protestant factions. This tension escalated when Charles dissolved Parliament multiple times and attempted to govern without it, leading to open rebellion. The Civil War culminated with the defeat of the Royalists, the trial and execution of Charles I in 1649, and the temporary establishment of the Commonwealth under Oliver Cromwell, who ruled as Lord Protector. This republican experiment ended in 1660 with the restoration of the monarchy under Charles II, but the power dynamics had shifted permanently. The Glorious Revolution of 1688 further solidified parliamentary sovereignty by deposing King James II and inviting William and Mary to rule under the condition they accepted the English Bill of Rights in 1689. This landmark document limited royal power, guaranteed parliamentary elections, and protected individual rights, establishing constitutional monarchy principles that endure today. In more recent history, particularly throughout the late 20th and early 21st centuries, the UK has addressed historical tensions, especially in Northern Ireland, through devolved assemblies. The creation of the Scottish Parliament, Welsh Synod, and Northern Ireland Assembly granted these regions varying degrees of self-governance, helping to ease regional conflicts and promote political stability. By the 16th century,